Hello everyone, we are here for round 4 of our 5-round standard competitive league. We're actually playing against Paul Rietzel this round, so this should be a fun match. This hand is reasonable. Nothing too exciting about it, but it's a hand. Gonna go ahead and play Evolving Wilds. I'm going to go ahead and fetch a Plains with this Evolving Wilds, just so we have double white. We don't really need double green as of yet. Selfless Spirit was a pretty decent draw. Looks like he's on some type of Abzan strategy. So we'll go ahead and take the 2 from the Advocate. Transgress the Mind. I accept. It's pretty good against our hand. But we also have a lot of good spells. Obviously this is a pretty tough decision for him because all of our spells are pretty good. We really want to draw a land for turn to make our tireless trackers great. But if not, we do have some other options, so we should be okay either way. So he ended up taking a Reflector Mage, very reasonable choice. We did draw a land, so that's absolutely fantastic. Go ahead and trade our Tireless Tracker off for a Sylvan Advocate. We don't want that Sylvan Advocate to get out of hand. Oh, Liliana the Last Hope was really bad for us, though. Wow, that was real bad. Perhaps we should have just sacked our Selfless Spirit in order to play around Liliana. So go ahead and I'll start by cracking a clue. Oh my gosh, he has Languish too? I was just very... It's not that I'm sorry if I sound like I'm complaining, but I'm just surprised at what he has. Like, that's a huge advantage of playing like a more rogue deck like this Abzan brew he has, because I have no idea what to expect. To me, he played a turn 2 creature, which doesn't usually signify a Languish on 4, but he did have it, so props to him, but I just didn't expect it. So it looks like maybe he's on an Abzan Seasons Pass type of deck with the Dark Petitions. I just don't really know what to expect. Alright, so I'm going to accompany in response to this Transgress the Mind. Nissa and Reflector Mage, although Reflector doesn't bounce anything, so it's kind of bad. So I'm going to attack Liliana with both of our creatures, and then play Avacyn to save them. It's really bad for us if he has Languish here, but I think we were probably going to lose to a Languish either way, so I may as well make this play. Because if we just pass with Avacyn up, I think we're just going to lose to a Languish. Linvala the Preserver. That was a decent one. Go ahead and flip our Nissa. Reveal Collected Company. So that is interesting because that, I think, gives us a shot in this game. Go ahead and cast the Collected Company. I suppose I'll fetch first to thin a land out of our deck. Tireless Tracker and Spellcaller. So I'm going to double block his Linvala, and then chump block his Sylvan Advocate. Or maybe I'll double block both. Yeah, that sounds better to me. Of course, these blocks kind of need him to have nothing, but I think our only route to victory is having our Nissa survive here. So he had an Anguish on making, unfortunately, but that's okay. Because at least our Nissa lives, which was the important part. Alright, I'm gonna try to eat his Angel, and then I'll just let our Nissa die. I think we can just race the Linvala from here with some good draws. Ooh, Liliana the Last Hope again blows us out, though. This deck came out at us from a lot of different angles, and unfortunately I just couldn't figure out what to play around, and I think we got punished pretty hard. Alright, I suppose I can stall the game out for one more turn by bouncing the Linvala, but things aren't looking very optimistic for us. We're going to have to hit like a couple running Collected Companies or something along those lines. I'm definitely going to have a better plan after sideboarding. Alright, that's just about going to close out the game, so we'll move on to post-board. The counter spells are going to be fantastic against him, so I'll bring in Clash of Wills and Negate. I'm going to board out Archangel Avacyn's and Dromoka's commands to replace those, so that our Collected Company hits remain the same. And then Tamio actually seems really good as well, but it will force us to cut a couple Collected Companies, but I think that's okay. Alternatively, we can cut Ojutai's command, but I think cutting a couple Collected Companies is going to be better. And then as for our creatures, I think our creatures are fine. Selfless Spirit is kind of awkward against Liliana Last Hope, so maybe I'll replace those with Eldrazi Displacers, but then it kind of lowers our or raises our curve too much. So I think I'm just going to keep the Selfless Spirits and just try to play around Liliana the best I can. So yeah, I like this configuration, so we will be using this for the next game. And it's very possible that on the draw I don't want the Tamios and I just want the last two Collected Companies instead. So we might try that out if we win this game and get to a game number 3. But for now, we'll try this out. And I may be wrong about the Selfless Spirits. Maybe they're just too horrible in this matchup, but we just need 2 drops in our deck, because hitting a turn 2 play is very important. Alright, so we'll be on the play, and this hand's reasonable, so we'll go ahead and keep it. Leading off with the tapped lands, and then on turn 2 we can go ahead and deploy our Advocate, which we will do. So on turn 3, we can hold up Spellcaller, but I think I just want to deploy Nissa instead because I desperately want to hit my 4th land drop, and this is the only guaranteed way to do it. And plus, adding 2 power to the board isn't nothing. That's relevant. End of turn, we'll go ahead and Company, try to hit some sweet ones. Hollowed Moonlight, oh my gosh, that was a blow. I did not expect that one either. I kind of feel like I'm getting outclassed here, just getting blown out left and right. But that is Paul Rietzel for you. He is a much better magician than I am. So we chose up to play Spellcaller here instead of Tireless Tracker to play around Languish for the most part. You might search like Liliana the Last Hope up here, in which case we can Spellcaller it. Although we're still going to be pretty susceptible to Languish. But at least this tracker is going to pay for itself via clues. It's really difficult to beat control decks when it seems like they always have the perfect answer. And it's not like he's drawing exceptionally well or anything, but it seems very hard to win these matchups. And I think that's why other decks are able to prey on the control decks that have a good Bant Company matchup. Go ahead and crack a clue. Alright, Oshitai's command was a decent one because it can buy back my advocate and counterspell. So we'll buy back advocate and counter his Nissa, which is pretty great here. Wow, Howlin' Moonlight blew us out again. Just didn't really expect those in the deck, but they did manage to blow us out, unfortunately. Dustwatch Recruiter is a pretty good one if we want to make a comeback here, because we will get 2 activations out of it, which is great. Perhaps we'll be able to outcard him with the Dustwatch Recruiter. Not saying it's likely, but it is possible, for sure. Abdicate is a good one. And Nissa is also a good one. Languish. So Languish 1-for-1 to kill our Dustwatch Recruiter, however his Liliana will be able to finish off our Advocate. So there's a Spell Queller on the bottom of our deck, there's one more in our deck, we're not likely to hit it, so we're going to have to just let this happen, I think. Because we can't let the Liliana ultimate, that's just not really an option, because it will get out of control, it will kill us very quickly. So I'm going to have to just company and hope for the best. We would have hit the Spell Queller, funnily enough, but nothing we can really do about that in hindsight. So here, I'm just going to send both creatures at Liliana. We'll activate Dustwatch. Looks like we'll get a Tireless Tracker, which is fine. And a Reflector Mage. May as well activate it again. Get an Abyssin. And Thankfully, his Liliana is not a threat of ultimating for a couple turns. Deathwatch Recruiter is a very powerful card when you have this much mana. So what did he get back? He got back a Nissa, okay. And so he's going to play a land to flip it. Got another land. No land, unfortunately, for our Tyler Tracker, but that's okay. It looks like we actually got sideboard glitched. I just remember now because we actually boarded out Dromoka's command. Dromoka's command should probably be a counterspell right now, unfortunately, which would be way better than what we currently have. So we'll see what he Dark Petitions for. Kalidas, which doesn't really matter because we have 2 Reflector Mages in hand. So end of turn, I'm going to play our Avacyn. He unfortunately had the Grasp. But we will bounce his Kalidas. Let's see here. So we actually have four damage that we can do to him this turn. Any land would have killed him, which is pretty frustrating. Blue, white, sorry. Blue, white, 1. We'll bounce a zombie as well. And I'm just going to attack him down to 2. And kind of just hope he doesn't have a Languish. Like I said, this Dromoka's command should be a counterspell right now, so it was pretty unfortunate that we got hit by the sideboard bug. Not that I'm complaining about it or anything, but I'm just kind of explaining why we have a Dromoka's command still in our deck when it's clearly not very good in this matchup. So we drew a land, which is a decent draw because it grows our Tireless Tracker. So go ahead and tap some mana. But with his last card being a Kalitas, we should have lethal damage regardless. Or no, sorry, he has 2 blockers, so we don't actually have lethal here. So he can activate both of his Hissing Quagmires, trade off our Reflector Mages. Oh, okay, we do have lethal. Because we can just fight his Ashaya with our Sylvan Advocate. Alright, silly me. It's been a long day. So anyway, we're gonna re-sideboard. Maybe we forgot to hit submit. That's actually certainly possible. And then on the draw, like I was talking about before, we're actually just I'm gonna have all the counter spells in my deck. And then also all the Collected Companies, because Collected Company is great. Although it is a little worse now that he has Hallowed Moonlight in his deck, so maybe we will cut those now that I think about it more. Add some Tamios. And even Learn from the Past seems decent in this matchup because of Spell Mastery and Delirium. So I'm going to try a Companyless build to see if it can overtake his... to see if it can overtake his Hallowed Moonlight plan. And clearly he's set on leaving his Liliana's in, so I'm going to board out my Selfless Spirits. And I'll have a 1 random Avacyn as my last card. Alright. This hand's really slow, but I think in this matchup we're going to be set to play the long game. So, just so we don't run out of time, I'm going to be playing a little faster now. But yeah, the plan now is going to be to grind him out. He's probably going to take our Nissa here, I'm guessing. But we have lots of good spells in hand. And I think that Bant Company is actually the deck favorite in the long game in this matchup, as weird as that sounds. Unfortunately, we couldn't get any early pressure down, so he's kind of just free to do his thing. But now we can deploy our Tamio. Hopefully he doesn't have something like Ruinous Path, but I'm going to go ahead and plus on his Nissa. So that if he does attack with his Nissa, then we can draw a card, which is great. We're just going to hope he doesn't have Anguish Unmaking or Ruinous Path to deal with the Tamio. If we do get to untap, we get to have access to Negate, which will make Tamio really hard for him to kill for the most part. But he did have the Ruinous Path, unfortunately. Alright, go ahead and deploy the Sylvan Advocate. And if he does kill it, then I can get it back with Oshitai's Command for some value. Just to be more mana efficient, I'm gonna negate this. And we'll go ahead and get a force with this. Missed our land drop, unfortunately, which makes that negate play a lot worse, but we'll go ahead and attack him. And just keep holding up our counter spells. Hopefully we get to surprise him with our Learn from the Past when he plays like a Delirium spell or something like that. So end of turn, I'm going to shuffle in his graveyard so he can draw a card. And also, it makes his future Delirium cards worse, and Spell Mastery cards. We hit our land drop, which is great. I'm going to attack his Nissa because he's probably going to block with this Hissing Quagmire, but that's fine because we can just get our Sylvan Advocate back with the Oshitai's Command. So end of turn, we'll use the Oshitai's Command, returning our Advocate and drawing a card. Just getting some value. Unfortunately, he did have the Hollowed Moonlight, but we still got to draw a card. Now seems like a good time as ever to deploy our Tireless Tracker. Get a clue. And may as well deploy our Displacer as well. We'd really like to get that Nissa Sage Animist off the board, but unfortunately the Howled Moonlight blew us out pretty badly. Alright, don't think we have any regional plays here, so I'm just going to pass the turn. But we do need to get that Nissa off the board, or else it's just going to bury us in card advantage. Sorin Grim Nemesis. Yep, that one we can't do anything about either, unfortunately. So he has a Languish and a Cletus that we know about. I'll attack his Nissa first. We kind of need to clear out all these creatures, but we have to start one at a time. Yeah, so we're probably just dead here, unfortunately. He got really far ahead with his planeswalkers, and we just didn't put enough pressure on him because our reactive cards did not do anything because of his Hallowed Moonlight. Like, if he didn't have that Hallowed Moonlight, then this Ojutai's Command would have rebought our Sylvan Advocate, and our advantage kind of would have snowballed. But as it stands, there was nothing we really could have done. So yeah, that's going to be game. We are now 3-1, and we will see you for round 5 in just a few.